let's bring in William Lawrence, a professor of political science and international affairs at the American University, joining us now from the US Capitol. William, it does appear that Donald Trump will take the House of Representatives. If he does that, he'll control the House, the Congress and the White House. And it has led to concern, particularly in the build-up to this, about unchecked power. Have you got concerns that with Trump in his last term, no need for re-election, the guardrails and indeed all bets will be off?
That's the way it looks to a lot of people, and I've been spending a lot of time thinking about and talking to people about what are the guardrails going forward. And I have quite a list here, but it is true that constitutionally and, at first blush, this will be an unbridled Trump. This will be a Trump that, very few people can say no to, unlike the first term when the guardrails were up. And even within this administration, there were a lot of people who simply, in many cases, didn't follow orders, as we heard in the memoirs of the generals that were running his White House operation, the National Security Council, and the Pentagon, among many other agencies. And that's one of the reasons we got Project 2025, which was an attempt to lay out a blueprint that would remove all of the remaining obstacles by firing a huge part of the federal workforce and reappointing 50,000 or more Trump loyalists to work within all these government agencies, as opposed to normally the 4,000 jobs on the so-called plum list that go to the winner of any presidential election. But there are some guardrails remaining. There is the filibuster within the Senate. It looks like it'll be around 53 to 47, and you need a 60-vote supermajority to get anything done really in the Senate. There are big disagreements within the Republican Party, even on core issues like tariffs, like immigration, for which there was a bill that the Senate passed and then reneged on because Trump wanted immigration to remain as an election issue. So they gave up on, sweeping immigration reform. But, there are disagreements in the Republican Party on that. So the Republican to Republican differences of opinion will be a kind of guardrail or a kind of debate, which I think will put the brakes on the, most extreme of some of the Trump proposals during the campaign. And then there's a Supreme Court, which looks like it's given him a kind of carte blanche, but there are lots of federal courts, as you mentioned, with not only the cases that are percolating along and not fully wound down yet, and there is the sentencing hearing last month in the New York federal case, which won't send him to jail, but isn't going to get dismissed either. But there's also a lot of federal courts where there will be new lawsuits. You may remember that there were a lot of corruption cases during the first Trump administration, and those won't simply go away. What there will be is judicial showdowns, which will, be in the media and will dominate a lot of the, coverage of Trump during this second administration. And then finally, the Pentagon has in the past said that it won't, for example, allow itself to be deployed in American cities against protesters. It won't involve itself in the mass deportations, and other things from within the federal government that could act as guardrails as before. There's another thing here, which is that Trump is 40 of his former 44 cabinet officials have come out against him during the election. So he'll have to appoint a whole new crop of people, many of whom won't have any governmental experience, which will make it very hard for them to do things, particularly in the early 6 to 12 months or so while they're getting appointed. And there's elections just 2 years away for the entire House and a very Republican third of the Senate, which will be having to defend itself. And a lot of those elected officials may not want to go too far out on the limb on issues like abortion, issues like prosecutions of domestic protesters, that sort of thing, when they're facing election, just 24 months away.
And those are issues that continue to divide America. I mean, Trump has vowed to govern for all of the population, but previous to this election result, he also vowed that if he got back into the White House, he would seek revenge and retribution. I mean, do you think the United States can heal, or will it remain deeply divided?
So the way I look at it is there are around 70 million Americans that didn't vote for Trump. There's tens of millions of more that didn't vote for anybody, but have a certain sense of what they expect from the government and don't want the government to do to them. And there's at least another 10 or 20 million Republicans that voted for Trump, but really only voted for reprieve against inflation, maybe Betty Hauser policy, some economic issues that were top of mind for the Republican electorate that put him in office, but didn't vote for a dismantling of government and a victimization of immigrants and political opponents. And so that adds up to about 100 million Americans, who may not be in agreement. Whether they organize, whether they coalesce, what they do remains to be seen. But the pro-democracy camp, which is what we're hearing about, is a supermajority in the United States. And they're already organizing as of today. And as we saw, a resistance to the Trump administration that formed literally in the days after the election in 2016. It's already organizing now. So we're looking at a bumpy road. We're looking at contentious politics going forward.
William, great to talk to you today. Thanks very much indeed for joining us here on TRT World. William Lawrence.